Sea levels are rising twice as fast in New Zealand. New data released Monday showed sea levels in New Zealand were rising faster than expected in about 20 to 30 years. Based on current international policies to reduce emissions, global sea levels are expected to rise about 0.6 meters by 2100. However, for most of New Zealand, this will double to around 1.2 meters due to continued subsidence, said Professor Tim Nish of the University of Victoria at Wellington, a co-leader of the Sea Rise New Zealand program. "We have less time to act than we thought," Nish said. What might really surprise people is that for many of New Zealand's most populous areas, such as Auckland and Wellington, these unavoidable rise are happening sooner than we thought. Vertical ground motion means these sea level changes could occur 20 to 30 years earlier than previously thought, said Richard Levy of GNS Science and Victoria University of Wellington, co-lead of New Zealand Sea Rise. For much of New Zealand's coast, a sea level rise of 30 cm is the threshold for extreme flooding, at which point a 100-year coastal storm becomes an annual event, Levy said. New Zealand Sea Rise, a 5-year government-funded research program, brings together 30 local and international experts from universities and research institutes to improve forecasts of sea level rise in New Zealand. On Monday, the program released location-specific forecast for sea level rise to 2,300 per 2 km of the coast of New Zealand. These forecasts can be assessed through a new online tool. For the first time, New Zealanders will be able to see how much and how fast sea levels will rise on their own stretch of coast and beyond, according to the program. The new projections are included in the Department of the Environment's next guide to local government work on coastal hazards and climate change, Levy said. Climate change and global warming cause sea levels to rise by an average of 3.5 mm per year. This sea level rise is due to the thermal expansion of the oceans and the melting of land glaciers, as well as the ice sheets of Greenland and Antarctica. However, local sea level rise around the New Zealand coast is also affected by ups and downs on land. We recognize when this vertical motion of the earth occurs in large jumps during earthquakes, but it is less clear to all of us that smaller shifts occur continuously between major seismic events, the program statement said. These small but steady changes also accumulate in the sinking area. The annual rate of sea level rise could double, he said, adding that the program linked this data to conditioned vertical land movements which sees raise the gauge to provide locally relevant sea level forecasts. Levy urges property owners, communities, infrastructure providers, and others to understand how sea levels will change in the coming decades, so they can address the risk of flooding, erosion, and rising groundwater. Sea level rise can be minimized by taking action to meet the Paris Agreement goal of limiting global warming to 1.5 to 2 degrees Celsius by 2100. The sooner we act, the more effective it will be, Nish said. Climate Change Minister James Shaw said later this month that New Zealand would publish its first plans to reduce emissions across the country. Thanks.